What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Crying at Baseball, a baseball podcast. I'm your host, Logan Ashton. We are joined once again by Ashton NFL. Ashton, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you, Logan?
I am doing good. I am excited. The Blue Jays are making moves. Let's just get right into it. George Springer, 6 years, $150 million. Give me your first reaction.
Obviously, this shows that the Blue Jays are going for it right now. They see that other teams are stacking up, being more competitive. I know a lot of people are going to say, like, Springer doesn't deserve this contract. He's kind of a byproduct of the cheating. But you look at it this last year, he was an MVP candidate early, very high home run numbers for center fielder. Plays a great field, 899 OPS. So he's proven that he can do it without the cheating. Obviously, that is a bit of a factor going into a new locker room. But personally, I think the contract is a little high, but it's the price that they were willing to pay to get a star player. So good for them.
Yeah, and he didn't have the best year this year. He batted .265, 14 bombs. Wasn't necessarily the best, and that was partially due to probably the cheating that occurred. But I look at his stats and I see All-Star in 2017, 18, 19, All-Star or World Series MVP in 2017, the Silver Slugger in 17 and 19, and that really makes me wonder what this contract is really worth, because are you paying for, are they going off the assumption that 2020 was a weird year and all this stuff, or like I personally would have gone on the assumption that 2020 was a byproduct, like you said, of them cheating, and I don't see him winning any more Silver Sluggers, to say.
Well, honestly, this year, although like the average is low, it's one of his better career years in terms of OPS, and obviously they weren't cheating this year, so I think that they kind of realized that yes, the cheating happened and it was awful, but Springer, you could just tell, is super talented. You like the home run numbers he put up this year for 51 games, having 14 home runs as a center fielder, who's kind of known as more of a speed guy, is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, and also, I hate to say it because it's kind of overused, but having that playoff experience is pretty big for a team like this, a younger team trying to make that playoff push. Although technically they did make the playoffs this year, they were bounced in 2 games by the Rays, so technically they were a playoff team, but not really. Just an extra base machine. Great fielder, fits well into the outfield and that center field role. This also allows them to play Teoscar Hernandez every day as a DH, which is also pretty big because he's not the best fielder.
Definitely.
I really do think this is a big improvement for them. I don't know if this necessarily puts them over the Yankees or White Sox, but the fans were kind of antsy because they've been talking about getting a big signing all off season, and they finally got it done.
Wait, can we rewind for a second? You said the Blue Jays might not be as good as the Yankees and White Sox. Now, that's pretty cool as a White Sox fan to hear you saying, the Yankees and White Sox best teams. So, do you think that? So you don't think that they are better than the Yankees and White Sox? So, where do you see them falling?
I see them as a wild card competitor. I really just don't I really don't think they have the starting pitching right now to compete with some of these other teams. Bring back Ross Stripling and Robbie Ray helps.
Hyun-Jin Ryu had a pretty solid year.
Yeah, Ryu's a great pitcher, don't get me wrong, but they're going to need some guys to really step up. Because you look at the White Sox and Yankees, like I'm saying, is Robbie Ray and Hyun-Jin Ryu as good as maybe Giolito and Lance Lynn? I'd take Giolito and Lance Lynn. And then you look at the Yankees. Would you rather have Nate Pearson and Hyun-Jin Ryu or Garrett Cole and Corey Kluber? I'd take Garrett Cole and Corey Kluber.
Definitely.
Even in the bullpen, they're just not, I'd say, good enough pitching right now in terms of just even depth for me to say like this team is better than the White Sox or Yankees. Obviously, there's still time to improve. They were actually a team that was still rumored for Quintana before he signed. We'll touch on that later, but uh, they're going to need Nate Pearson to pitch like an ace this year, and they're going to need Robbie Ray to pitch like an all-star like he once did for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with pretty much everything you said there. Um, yeah, I'm curious to see if they do, push the Yankees out of what, in my mind, the number one spot. And I'm trying not to, put the Rays out of the conversation, but also they lost their two best pitchers. Like, it's the AL East is a very confusing division because we're not sure if these Blue Jays players, we're not sure if these young guys are going to show up. Because if Caven, Vladdy, Bo all show up, and they got Springer in the outfield, like that's a deadly four, like right there, like that's amazing. And they also signed Kirby Yates, which we'll get to in a minute. But it's difficult to see. And will the Yankees be plagued by injuries again? Will the Rays be able to overcome losing their best pitchers? They were the American League champions. They're the best team in the American League, and it's weird saying that they aren't going to make the playoffs even. So, do you see the Rays possibly finishing below the Blue Jays? I know you just said that you take the Blue Jays over or under the Yankees. You take the Yankees over the Blue Jays, but do you see a Rays Blue Jays wild card game in the mix possibly? And if not, what other team with the Blue Jays?
Personally, I really don't think the Rays are a playoff team this year. I think they're probably a team that finishes below 500. Every year, whenever the Rays trade a big star the year after, like everyone kind of counts them out. But I think it's really fair this year. I felt like the Rays were able to compete as much as they did this year, uh, just because of how short the season was and how important the bullpen was. And to be honest, they don't make it as far as they do without Randy Arozarena just turning into a Hall of Famer in the playoffs. Like I don't
Yeah,
know.
definitely.
Um, I'm gonna just say it right now. Don't overlook the Red Sox this year. I know.
Oh, I'm overlooking them.
Yeah,
You can put that down in ink.
I know. Like you see what happened last year. Not great, but this team is super talented. They're getting Chris Sale back this year. Obviously, if they trade Benintendi, that changes a little bit. They get their manager back. Um, I think they're the Red Sox are a team that might end up with more wins than the Rays. So obviously, I don't see the Rays in the wild card. I also don't really see the the Red Sox in the wild card. I think they'll be a team that's maybe a little bit above 500. So the teams in the AL that I could see competing for that wild card, potentially the Indians, potentially the Twins, the Astros. I feel like a lot of people are counting out the A's, the teams that are typically competitive but not great.
Yeah.
Uh, those are the teams that I see competing. I don't want to just say like the Blue Jays have no chance against the Yankees. If those young players all have those all-star caliber seasons, like a guy I think you might have just missed him, was Lourdes Gurriel has been fantastic for
Oh
them.
yeah, I definitely overlooked him.
Yeah, he's been fantastic for them. So you're really seeing this team like start to come together. Obviously, you saw it start this last year, but with Springer now, like this team, I'm gonna say it again. I'm still gonna take the Yankees over them, but they're a team that's making a push for that World Series.
Okay, so yeah, I can definitely see where you come from. But with the Red Sox, I'm going to name some teams right now. I want you to tell me what team you think is better. Red Sox, Pirates. What team do you think is better?
Red Sox.
Red Sox, Tigers. What team do you think is better?
Red Sox.
Red Sox, Rangers.
Red Sox.
Red Sox, Angels.
That's tough, but the Angels always suck, so I'm gonna take the Red Sox.
the Angels finished 2 games higher than the Red Sox last year. How about Diamondbacks Red Sox?
Red Sox.
Diamondbacks finished a game higher. How about Diamondbacks or not? Red Sox Mets.
Uh, probably, honestly, probably Washington.
Really?
Yeah. So the real reason I'm saying Red Sox, one, I think Core is a fantastic manager. I know a lot of people are going to say the cheating, but there's a reason AJ Hinch got another job. It's because he's
Yeah.
actually a good manager. Like obviously, uh, he really didn't have all that much of a say in cheating. Like the story came out that he broke the monitor when he first saw it. But uh,
That was Hinch. Yeah.
yeah, but I do getting Chris Sale back is so huge,
Yeah,
and
that was
getting
huge.
Cora back is huge, and I just think that team is. I think they underperformed last year, and I think that young core, well, maybe not the youngest core, but guys like Verdugo, and I think Benintendi, whether it's for the Red Sox or whatever team he goes to, is going to step up this year. Then you still have Devers, Christian Vasquez. Like this is a talented
Yeah,
team.
Bogarts.
Yeah, this is a really talented team, and I really think people are overlooking them.
Okay. That is insightful commentary, Ashton. All right. Do you have anything else you want to say about Springer, or are we good to move on to Yates?
I say we move on to Yates.
All right. So Kirby Yates reportedly signing with the Blue Jays. As of right now, we do not have any concrete details. I will refresh Twitter while we're talking. But Kirby Yates replacing Ken Giles. Give me your thoughts.
I think it's a good move for the Blue Jays. And Kirby Yates. Obviously, Yates only pitched in 4 1/3 innings this year, got hurt. But the year before, he was just absolutely ridiculous. Um, so adding that to your bullpen is obviously huge, especially for a younger team. If you have a guy in the back end of a bullpen who can't close it down, it's very demoralizing for a younger team. Uh, yeah, last year, like I said, he was so good that he finished ninth in Cy Young voting as a reliever who only pitched 60 innings.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the year before that, he was obviously fantastic too. But especially in 2019, he was just arguably the most dominant closer in baseball. So
Yeah.
I think a common theme we're kind of seeing now is the younger team, like a younger team going out and spending money to get a reliever. We see it with the White Sox getting Liam Hendricks, obviously now with the Blue Jays signing Kirby Yates, and I'd say even back to the Cubs when they won their World Series, they went out and gave up a ton to get Chapman.
Yeah.
So
They gave Clint Frazier and Glaber, right? Or no, it was Clint. Clint was when they dealt Andrew Miller to
yeah,
the Indians, and yeah. Glaber was
the Glaber and Billy McKinney to the White Sox or to the Yankees
Mhm.
for Chapman,
Okay.
and
Sorry.
yeah, and I'd argue that the Cubs don't win the World Series without Chapman. Obviously, people are going
Oh
to
yeah,
look at that Game 7 and Rajat Davis hitting the home run off him. But if you look
that was
through that,
magnificent.
yeah, you look throughout that whole postseason, he pitched so many innings. Like,
Yeah,
um,
he was mad at Joe Madden for how he used him.
yeah, but at the end of the day, the Cubs did win the World Series, so I
Yeah,
don't blame the guy. Um, but I think Yates is. I think he'll be a big part of this team. Obviously, this year, I really don't think he's enough in the bullpen. I think they should still try to go out and get some more pieces.
hmm
But getting a guy who could be as dominant as he can is huge.
yeah. Okay, so I got the deal pulled up. 1 year, 5.5 million with a 4.5 million in performance bonuses. This is according to Sportsnet or sources to Sportsnet. Ken Rosenthal was the first person to break this. So I really, a possible $10 million contract. If he makes the All Star team, all this incentivized stuff. So let's just say 1 year, $6 million for like the 2019. I believe he won reliever of the year in the National League. I'll double check that. But give me your thoughts.
Obviously, the incentives make a ton of sense. He's coming off an injury, but he was so dominant the year prior that, like, it makes sense for him to take a contract that includes MLB incentives. Obviously, the $5 million by itself, it is quite a bit of money. But if you're getting one of the most dominant relievers in baseball, it's 100% worth it.
Yeah, definitely. And, taking the place of Ken Giles. Ken Giles did not have a great year last year. He only played 4 games. I believe he got injured. 3.2 innings pitched. So yeah, but replacing Ken Giles, we're going to look at Ken Giles' 2019 stats, which he was pretty darn solid in. I see 53 innings pitched, which isn't a whole heck of a lot. But he is a closer, so that's possibly pitching every third day or so. But I see Yates even after this injury season as an upgrade from Ken Giles. Do you?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I'm looking at the stats. There's not a whole lot that jumps out at me when I see Ken Giles. One of my first thoughts about Ken Giles, I got two. His 86 overall card in MLB The Show 18 when he was with the Phillies, and the second is him cussing out AJ Hinch on the mound when he pulls him out of the game, and he gets traded to the Blue Jays for Roberto Osuna the next day. I'm not sure if you remember that whole fiasco, but that was something.
I do.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Kirby Yates, and Roberto Osuna is still on the market. Like, that's another reliever that's still on the market. I mean, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, but obviously Osuna had some off the field issues.
He did have some off the field issues that I'm not sure if I want him to sign with the team, in all honesty.
Yeah, obviously it seems like he's cleaned it up. He
You'd
also
hope
added
so.
to me. Yeah, he also added to me hating the Astros, having a guy like that on your team. But for all that stuff, you can't say he's not a great pitcher because he's been very dominant these past couple of years. And I think teams, obviously the Astros did so. I think 100% teams are going to overlook some of the off the field stuff because of how good of a pitcher he is.
Yeah, Osuna didn't pitch a whole heck of a lot this season. 4.1 innings pitched. 3 strikeouts and 4.1. But looking back at his 2019 stats, 65 innings pitched, 73 strikeouts. That's over a strikeout an inning. Only has made one All-Star team in 2017. He's a fairly young guy. I feel like he's been in the league forever. He's only 25 years old. But I mean, he's still on the market.
Yeah, and I think his contract, I don't think it's going to be very comparable to either Hendricks or Giles because of his age.
Yeah.
So I think he gets more than a 1-year deal, but less money than Hendricks got, obviously, because Hendricks is coming off some super impressive years, and obviously Osuna was injured this year. So I think that'll be interesting. I don't necessarily see a perfect fit for Osuna. I think it's just whatever team's willing to give him a solid contract, he'll take it.
Yeah.
There's really no rush for him to sign right now either, but I don't think this Yates contract is going to set the market for relievers because of how dominant he was 2 years prior, and then the fact he was injured this year. So it's kind of a weird situation, but nonetheless, it's still a huge signing for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, is that going to do it?
I think so.
All right, well, we thank you for listening to Crying in Baseball Podcast. Hope to see you again soon. See ya. Peace.